killing in the name of God. People have been doing it for centuries, and it's still happening today. What can religious leaders and people of faith do to bring about peace in the world? Hello, I'm Dr. Sean Foreman, Assistant Professor of Political Science at Barry University. I have 3 guests here to discuss killing in the name of God from different religious perspectives. First, Rabbi Solomon Schiff. You're the Executive Director, Executive Vice President of the Greater Miami Jewish Foundation. Why do people kill in the name of God?
Well, first let me say that Judaism, as most other modern religions, is against killing. The Ten Commandments, which is the heart of the Jewish religion, says very clearly one of the commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit murder. But it's not only murdering that we're against. There's another verse in the Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament, which says, thou shalt not stand idly by while the blood of your neighbor is being spilled. So it's not only actually killing somebody, that's against the Jewish law, but standing idly by, allowing somebody else to be killed, is against the Jewish law. So basically, Judaism is against the killing. If people abuse those laws, and they say they're killing in the name of God, this is totally inappropriate and not accepted in Judaism.
Dr. Ed Sunshine, Associate Professor of Theology here at Barry University. What is the Christian perspective on this? Also following the commandments, Christianity as the history of the Crusades. Can you explain how this is seen as being morally justified?
Well, Christianity came out of Judaism, and so the same perspective that the rabbi mentioned, would be true of Christianity. Jesus was killed. He didn't kill himself. And so that is the ideal put up for Christian conduct. And in the early Christian centuries, that was followed. The early Christians were pacifists. They did not participate, even in the Roman army, in defense of state. That was considered to be wrong. So they were more strict than what the rabbi mentioned. However, when Christianity became established as the religion of the Roman Empire in the 4th century, there was a change. Obviously, an empire cannot function without a system of defense, and so Christianity was drawn into supporting that. In the period of the barbarian invasions, say from the 4th century through the 9th, 10th century or so, the idea of using violence in the name of religion was more connected with a defensive mode, trying to deal with the invasions of different peoples from other parts of Asia. And then in the period after the year 1000, after about 1100 or so, there was a more aggressive view in Christianity of violence. And so you had the Crusades starting. And violence was used to conquer other peoples, to convert other peoples, to begin aggressive wars. And that continued in different forms through up to the 1500s, when we had the discoveries, the New World and all that. And then violence was used in conquest to colonize and all that. And Christianity as a religion went along with the conquistadores.
Why did they go along?
Well, because you had this union of church and state. The two acted in harmony. And this was considered to be necessary to have a functioning social group like a state and a monarchy, a society like that. And that continued until very recently in our own time. In one way or another, Christianity supporting the actions of the state, even when the state was acting aggressively and not just defensively. Only fairly late in the 20th century did religion, in terms of Christianity, start to question the use of violence in this form. And that is the situation we are today, where there are more serious movements towards a control of violence and even a pacifist position.
A very good point. I think we want to come back to and how politics got intertwined with religion, and that justified killing. First, let me bring on our third guest, Sheikh Shafayet, the principal and Islamic scholar from Darul Ulam Institute. How is violence seen in history through the eyes of Islam?
Well, in reality today, Islam is known to be a violent religion. Let's face it, what is happening in the world. That's what people assume based on what is being projected by some Muslims, of course. But from the Quranic point of view, killing in the name of God is really permissible in the law. When someone kills someone innocently, then like capital punishment, that's where it's permissible and it's considered to take a life back for the life that was lost. Other than that, the sort of thing which we call jihad and all these wars and killing that people say they kill in the name of Islam, that's really permissible if someone attacks you to kill you, to give up your God or to give up your Lord. Then in defense you can kill that person. Mm-hmm. If he is only coming to kill you, not because he simply wants you to give up your God or your belief or your faith. It's only in defense if he wants to kill you. However, on the other hand, Islam gives the freedom that, if someone wants to kill you and you can get away, you migrate. But it does not really authorize people to kill as we see happening in the Muslim world and as some people misrepresent Islam. What took place in the past, though, refer to wars and incidents where there were battles. And again, the Islamic teachings is that Islam does not want a person to be a coward in the name of God. If someone, like an American soldier, a soldier is there to defend his country. And if someone comes to kill that soldier, for him to turn his back and hide, he becomes a coward. If he defends his country, he's a hero for his country. So if it's defending yourself in the name of God, that's permissible.
In all three religious perspectives, I hear that the self-defense is permissible.
Yeah, well, just to add to that, we have again, some milchamat reshut, certain wars that are defensive, which we're permitted to engage in. We have many examples in the Bible. When the Jews left Egypt and they were attacked by Amalek, the Amalekites, and Jews were asked to repel them and to fight them to save their lives. We also have a Talmudic or halacha, which means Jewish law, which says, if somebody comes to kill you, you stand up and kill him first. Not only that, but if I see somebody coming to kill a third party, and I can only save that party by killing him, not by just wounding him, then I have to do that. So the saving of a life is primary, and because of that, we're permitted to engage in it. And also we want to mention one other thing. In the Jewish tradition, we have the expression, one who takes one life destroys an entire world. One who saves one life saves an entire world. So we look at that to say that before you take a life, there has to be complete justification.
If I could ask the Rabbi a question on this. In terms of the Old Testament, say the actions of Joshua after the exit from Egypt, the wandering in the desert, the entrance into Canaan and conquering that land, that would seem to be an aggressive activity rather than a defensive activity. How would the interpretation be of that?
Well, interpretation is that this was part of God's plan. God's plan, we believe that God created the world, is the owner of the world, and He ordained from Abraham's time that the land of Israel would be part of the Jewish people. And when they tried to come in there, then they had to fight them in order to take that land. So that was really an exception to the general pattern of the Jewish history as related in the Bible.
As the Rabbi mentioned, Islam also got that very same law that if you kill one man innocently, it's as though you have killed the entire nation. And that's in the Holy Quran also.
Then what has happened in recent decades